Well, welcome back to Delfine. Apologies, I'm a terrible YouTuber. I had lots of plans of making all these sort of like time-lapse videos, and that didn't happen. I ended up doing a series of walkthroughs throughout the process of the last 2 weeks, and then when I sort of looked back at it, I thought, you know what, that's not actually that interesting watching the same walkthrough again and again. So I started afresh. Here we are. I'm going to take you through what's happened to Delfine in the last couple of weeks, and I've got to be honest, it's a lot. One of the first things you're going to notice here is a big pile of deck furniture ready to go up here. We've now completely painted the guest deck and the rails. That's all done. There's 2 finish layers on there. I would like to do a third, but this is fine for now. The paint needs 6 days to cure properly, so we're using the grass to walk around when we need to. But yeah, Delfine is really coming along. Simon has been back working on the Wheelhouse, so that's now sitting flat. There's been a bit of stuff inside that I'll show you in just a moment. So yeah, she's coming along here. This is all looking great. Starting up here in the Wheelhouse, the console is now basically finished. We've got these brass pipes that we're running the cables through for the nav lights, just to keep them all neat, kind of like the old worldy feel of it. The roof is now in. We have a lining up here on the inside of the black, and we have epoxied all of these walls. The old wood, stained. There's not much we can do about that. I think we're just going to own it and live with that. Here we've got the black is all done, so this is looking great. There's some more stuff to be hooked up on the back side of it, and we've run into problems with our AIS. We need to have this one removed. We have to go and get a Class A, but that's okay. That's something that we can manage. The windows for the front are here. They're off with Simon. They should get installed this week. I say a lot's happened. You're really going to notice it here in the stern cabin. We now have a desk, some shelves. This will be a small basin for brushing your teeth. There'll be a door into the bathroom here, toilet, and the shower, which will go in here. Over here, we now have most of a bed being built in. Takes up a bit of room, and the carpets are laid as well. So yeah, this is moving along quite nicely. You know, Karina and I often talk about the kind of just-in-time nature of this project, and we thought we'd share a little bit more about how we're managing things. One of the problems that you run into is something that happened here as a good example. We decided that we did not like this trim and that we'd remove it. I removed it only to find out that this is in fact an access hatch for the hydraulic steering. So we need to change that and do something about it. So that's the sort of thing where with the builders we're working on, okay, we're going to take this off, replace this whole thing with a big board that can be removed, and it will sit flush. You won't notice it most of the time. But that's one of the things that happens. Coming down into the main salon now. The kitchen is mostly complete. We have a refrigerator. Everything's here. She's not on yet because although it's plugged in at the back, the cable just needs to be hooked up to the switch panel. That'll happen on Tuesday. We have a stove, again, not working, needs to be hooked up to the panel. A dishwasher, not working, needs to be hooked up to the panel. A recurring theme. Things are sort of 90% there, but there's a bit more. We are waiting on a stainless steel commercial grade cooktop to come in here. That's off being manufactured. That has to come in, and then obviously then you can finish off and put in taps and things like that. But all the painting is completed. We've done the 2 layers now. The tape has been removed. You're starting to see this boat begin to look like she should. One of the challenges of working on a boat or any constrained space is where do you put your working materials? They've moved around and around. This is the last of the builder's stuff that's on board. Basically everything else has been cleared out. At various times it's moved down that end of the boat and back again. But we have now got that under control. We're doing a little bit of painting here in the middle. There's a bit of thunderstorm and some rain. These are the radiator covers at the moment. Karina has just finished a satin layer on this, which matches the color of that green there. So they should seem very close to each other. Yep, they look pretty good. And yeah, cushions and upholstery will be in this week. So all of a sudden, this is becoming somewhere that we're almost able to live on again. That's really important because at the end of this week, so after the 20th, Friday the 20th, we are moving the boat into Ghent to the marina there so that we can take a week and enjoy the company of our daughter, her husband, and Grow, his mother. So yeah, we're looking forward to having guests. So we've got a lot to go. You might notice up here, there's a dirty great big hole. This is the last piece of major construction left. This was, again, another example of the just-in-time nature of things. As we were putting stuff in, this was coming in very rapidly. We realized that we needed to get air conditioning run. We'd been thinking about it. We've been putting it off. Anyway, we spoke to Bart. He did the heating. He was able to come and give us a quote. We've now found a solution. We've managed to run the pipes up through here. This will get a new fake wall here that's going to flush off across there. We need to adjust those pipes slightly to be able to put back something around the hatch. But that, I'm really actually I'm very psyched. I'm really pleased with how this has all ended up because, you know, we left it too late in the process. We'll talk a little bit about why that is in a minute. Coming from there, you know, we now have carpets. That happened yesterday. The carpets have gone in. You'll notice it's not quite as echoey now. This has all been painted. The tape has come off. That's an air conditioner going up there. So, yeah, bathrooms are waiting on the shower screens, which are going to come this week. The showers, now there's a problem. We'll talk about that as well. Under here, this is just, it's actually stuck down. It's protecting the brass top of these. Yeah, this is all coming along. So, and here we are in Albert. This has carpet as well. Same situation in the bathroom. This has all been painted now. It's basically finished. You know, one of the problems, you know, we're trying to save money, obviously, at various places. So we found these handles online on Bowl, which is the equivalent of Amazon here. And we ordered them. We thought we'd just get one set to give them a go. We're like, yep, these are good enough for what we need. They look okay. You know, there are higher quality ones that you can get. But for 25 euros for 12 of them, we thought that was great. Order them, put them in, happy enough with them. What happens, go back to order them again, they don't have any. So that's the sort of stage we're at with the project. Forepeak now is completely converted to storage and paint room. All of our tools are up here. For a very long time, we've been planning for the end of this month, which is after the 20th or the 21st of June on the Saturday, for our daughter to arrive and visit. We told the builders that sort of 5 or 6 weeks ago, and we've been pushing towards that. And the sort of problem we've run into is things like the mixer that goes here could be installed next week, but it can't be because that particular piece is on back order up until the end of 2025, which means that we're probably not going to have showers in the short term, and we need to find a different solution. And actually, as you go through the bathroom, the basin that we wanted, the taps that match that, the taps come at the end of July, the toilets like beginning of August. This will be the end of 2025. It's crazy. So, you know, we're having to work through that and find a solution. It was a little frustrating because we felt that people should have ordered things already, but when we sat back and we realized, and we've done the same thing ourselves, is that clients change their minds. And so, you know, the suppliers don't really order anything until it's ready to go in because they could end up with stock that they have to swap out. It's going to be so much nicer sitting on these seats here with actual cushions. Yeah, so I thought what I'd do is I'm going to shoot a separate video that I'll sync up to this just to show how we manage our tasks. You know, we keep it very simple. It's like our philosophy on this project has been all along that you know, you work better with people when you're friendly to them. You need to, obviously, you know, you need to have deadlines. You need to push and put your foot down on occasion. But for the most part, you know, we understand that everyone that's working on this project is doing their best to help us, and that they have other things that are going on. And sometimes the nature of, I wouldn't say negotiating necessarily a discount, but the flexibility that's been offered to us means that we need to be flexible in return. You know, people have been sick. Other things have happened. There's issues with the supply of components. But the good thing is, because we're managing it just in time, you know, really, it's not a major problem for us. We're not so focused on having to have exactly the right taps. It's annoying in the moment to see that the taps are not ready and that we have to change, and it means that, you know, when Ella and Inga, our daughter and son-in-law, are here, we're not going to have showers, unfortunately. But it also means that we have the flexibility to be able to go and find something else and make a different decision. So yeah, we just use a simple task list in Notes that we can share between Karina and I. We put the things in there and we just drag and drop them, we reorder them. And that's pretty much how we manage the whole project. It's, you know, so many things. You can sort of really break it down into major sections of work and different parts you're doing with different people, and that kind of, it almost manages itself. But we find that to be the simplest, most effective way to keep ourselves on track. And just periodically, like we did this morning when we sit on the boat, we'll go through the list, we'll scroll up and down, we'll talk about what we should be doing, and we'll reorder it. And basically that's the punch list for the day. We'll go on and get through that. So Delfine is very close. We're almost back on the water. I think the actual completion of the project is probably still a couple of months away, but we're making good strides. Thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying the videos, and, you know, soon there'll be some of us actually underway and on the water. Okay, bye.